When Maya Moore walked onto court to surprise Caitlin Clark, it wasn't just a sweet moment. It was a symbolic one. One legend quietly honoring another in the making. Clark's rise hasn't only been about points or playmaking. It's been about presence. Even through the setbacks of her second season, her influence held steady. Her game drew out praise from Tamika Catchings and Lisa Leslie, while younger stars like Erica Wheeler and Jonquil Jones stepped in to defend her voice and validate her leadership. That kind of support doesn't come from talent alone. It comes from impact. Clark is already shaping the future of the league in ways that statistics can't measure.
If you're here for the real story and not the filtered version, subscribe. And if you're sticking around for the next meltdown, you better definitely subscribe.
Her ability to unite legends, inspire fans, and shift how women's basketball is seen and played is redefining what greatness looks like. With MVPs and mentors now standing behind her, her next chapter isn't about proving she belongs. It's about proving what's possible. Caitlin Clark didn't just enter the WNBA. She walked in and redefined the assignment. From her very first game, it was clear this wasn't just another rookie testing the waters. It was a generational talent who came prepared to flip the script on what people thought was possible for a first-year player. Rookie of the Year? That was just the start. First-team All-WNBA as a rookie? That alone shattered expectations. And when the dust settled on her inaugural season, she had set or broken a jaw-dropping 62 records. That number isn't a typo. 62. It wasn't hype. It wasn't marketing spin. It was game-changing performance that forced even her harshest critics to rethink everything. Clark had already proven herself in college, but the pros? The pros are different. Faster, tougher, more relentless. But from day one, Clark's vision, shot-making, and leadership stood tall in the face of it all. Her passes weren't just smart, they were surgical. Her threes weren't just deep, they were demoralizing. And the confidence? It never came off arrogant. It came off like she'd already done the work, and she had. But her story doesn't stop at numbers. Her impact ran deeper. And the MVPs of the WNBA, they noticed. At first, some were skeptical. A few legends didn't say much at all. Others, like Diana Taurasi, made it clear that dominance in college doesn't always translate to the league. And fair enough, because historically, they've been right. The WNBA is a whole different world. But over time, game after game, the tone changed. Clark's performance was too consistent, too elite, too undeniable. And suddenly, the silence started to break. Breanna Stewart, multiple-time MVP and one of the league's fiercest competitors, went on record recognizing Clark's presence and composure on the court. She saw what Clark brought to the table. Not just points, but control, command, a rare ability to dictate the game like a seasoned vet. Candace Parker didn't hold back either. She acknowledged Clark's leadership and high basketball IQ. And coming from Parker, who's not only a legend but someone who's helped carry the league on her shoulders, that acknowledgement mattered. And then there was Taurasi. Yes, the same Taurasi who publicly questioned Clark's readiness. The same Taurasi who warned about the reality check rookies get in the league. Even she came around. Eventually, Taurasi gave Clark credit where it was due, specifically highlighting her passing ability. It was subtle but significant. When one of the most competitive, no-nonsense players in WNBA history shifts her stance, that tells you everything. And she wasn't the only one. Lisa Leslie, who helped shape the league from its earliest days, praised Clark's ability to attract fans and grow the game. Tamika Catchings, known for her intensity, leadership, and impact on and off the court, recognized Clark's role in advancing the league itself. That kind of praise doesn't come from highlight reels. It comes from watching someone change atmosphere. Even Maya Moore, Clark's childhood hero, made a personal appearance to show love. And this wasn't just a handshake at center court. It was a genuine, emotional moment, a symbolic passing of the torch. Moore had once inspired Clark. Now, Moore was acknowledging her as the next to carry the game forward. That hit different. It felt like a full-circle moment that cemented Clark's place in the legacy she once looked up to. Others like Tina Charles and Cynthia Cooper also shared their admiration. Cooper especially pointed out Clark's craftiness and elite-level passing, praising her not just as a scorer, but as a playmaker. And Cooper knows talent. Her words weren't thrown around lightly. Even some current players, like Erica Wheeler, stepped up in a big way. Wheeler became a mentor, someone who helped Clark adjust to the pro level while the spotlight was burning hotter than ever. Her perspective on Clark's authenticity, her desire to learn, and her team-first mentality, it shut down a lot of lazy narratives. This wasn't just a stat-chasing rookie. This was someone committed to building something real. Jonquel Jones, another former MVP, took it a step further, defending Clark against online criticism and reminding people that with the spotlight comes noise. But behind all that, Clark was putting the work, elevating her teammates, and taking on every challenge without excuses. Still, not everyone's fully convinced. Aya Wilson, the reigning MVP and one of the most dominant forces in the league today, has kept her distance when it comes to praising Clark. She hasn't thrown shade, but the hesitancy is loud enough to notice. Whether it's about protecting her legacy or waiting for Clark to do it over time, it speaks to the unspoken tension between new stars and established greatness. And honestly, that tension isn't bad. It's part of what makes sports compelling. But Clark hasn't let any of that get in her way. Even as injuries crept into her second season and slowed her momentum, her presence never disappeared. She remained impactful. She still drew attention. She still moved the needle. And most importantly, she kept her focus on the long game, winning. That's always been her goal. Not just racking up points, but bringing a championship to Indiana. And that vision is what continues to earn her the respect of those who came before. Because legends know that scoring is easy when you're hot. Leading a team to greatness? That takes something else entirely. Which is why Clark's name has now entered another conversation. Team USA. Several MVPs have pushed for her inclusion, not just for visibility or vibes, but because she belongs. Her play warrants it. Her maturity justifies it. And her influence could be the X factor in bringing new energy to the national team. That kind of advocacy from icons is more than praise. It's belief in her ability to contribute on the highest stage. But even without the accolades, Clark's already done something bigger. She's sparked a cultural shift. She's proven that women's basketball isn't a side story. It is a story. The crowd she draws. The media attention she commands. The record she breaks. It's all part of something larger, a changing of the guard. Clark isn't just chasing the ghosts of legends. She's building a legacy that will one day be the benchmark. And that's why this moment matters. Because the MVPs breaking their silence, that's not just about giving props to a rookie. It's about acknowledging a new chapter, a moment where past greatness recognizes future greatness, and the torch gets passed, whether everyone is ready or not. Clark's relationship with Maya Moore says it all. That moment of recognition, of admiration flowing in both directions, is a reminder of how this game evolves. Each generation builds on the last. And right now, Caitlin Clark is building something historic. So if you've been watching all this unfold, you already know it's bigger than basketball. This is about growth. It's about leadership. It's about how one player can reshape the perception of an entire league. And if the MVPs are now standing up to say, she's the real deal, then maybe it's time for the rest of the world to stop debating it. She's already here. If you've made it this far, you know we're witnessing something that's going to be talked about for years to come. Like the video if you're following Clark's journey. Share it with someone who still needs convincing. Subscribe for more stories like this, and tell us in the comments, what moment made you a believer? Let's keep this conversation going. The legends have spoken. Now it's your turn. Let's talk about what 62 records actually mean in the WNBA. This isn't a league where records get broken just because someone's hot for a few weeks. This is a league built on players who spent years grinding, adapting, dominating. And yet, in one season, Caitlin Clark stepped into that arena and rewrote history pages that have been untouched since the league's inception. And not just one or two categories. We're talking assists in a game, assists in a season, three-pointers, rookies scoring milestones. She didn't just show potential. She showed she was already operating at an MVP level. The part that really made people stop and take notice? She did with pressure at every angle. Not many players enter the league with millions of fans, a polarizing reputation, and the weight of revitalizing a franchise that hasn't sniffed relevance in years. Caitlin Clark didn't inherit a super team. She didn't land in a media market with a deep playoff history. She came into Indiana, a team desperate for direction, and immediately gave them a future. And that's when the MVPs realized, this isn't hype, this is impact. The MVPs started watching closer. Some of them had been reserved, and understandably so. When you built your legacy brick by brick, you don't just hand the spotlight over to someone because they have a signature shoe deal and a few viral highlights. But as Clark's stat lines kept stacking and her leadership started showing in every huddle, the narrative shifted. Even the most respected veterans began speaking publicly. Breanna Stewart didn't just applaud Clark's stats. She noted her effect on the entire ecosystem of the game. How many rookies can pull that off? Candace Parker went deeper, noting that Clark's leadership reminded her of what it takes to make a real difference in this league. Parker, who's been a champion on and off the court, doesn't throw around compliments. Her respect speaks volumes. And when Diana Taurasi adjusted her take, that was a full-circle moment. She had famously told the world there was a reality check coming for Clark. But after watching Clark navigate the highs and lows, the scrutiny and the grind, and still ball out, even Taurasi had to give her props. It was quiet, but it was clear respect had been earned. That respect isn't just validation. It's transformation. Because when the league's top voices start endorsing a player they once doubted, it tells you something deeper is happening. It tells you Clark isn't just winning games. She's shifting minds. And then there's the icon tier. Lisa Leslie, Tamika Catchings, Maya Moore. These aren't just great players. These are architects of the WNBA. Legends who didn't just play, they defined eras. And now they're acknowledging Clark's rise as part of the league's evolution. Tamika Catchings, who knows what it's like to carry Indiana on her back, openly praised Clark's vision and drive to change the team's culture. Lisa Leslie emphasized her reach beyond the game, how she's bringing in a new generation of fans, making little girls believe that, yes, this sport is theirs. But Maya Moore's recognition, that hit differently, because Moore didn't just like a post or give a shout-out. She showed up, in person. She connected with Clark, not just as a mentor, but as a symbol. The idea that someone Clark grew up idolizing would now validate her rise. That was bigger than basketball. That was the past acknowledging the present. That was the game saying, we see you, you belong here. And that's what's so powerful about this shift. Clark isn't trying to replace the legends. She's honoring them. She knows who came before her. She's not rewriting their legacy. She's building on it. And that is why the admiration feels real. But let's talk about the support that's come from inside the locker room. 2. Erica Wheeler didn't just help Clark on the court. She helped her navigate the noise. She saw the pressure, the criticism, the attention, and instead of being threatened by it, she leaned in. She became a voice of support, a mentor, someone who understood that real greatness needs real guidance. And Jonquil Jones, another MVP, another real one. She didn't stay silent when Clark was getting dragged online. She stood up for her. She reminded everyone that Clark was more than just a name trending on Twitter. She was a teammate, a leader, a young player giving everything to the game. That kind of peer respect is earned, not gifted. And Clark, whether she knows it or not, has already earned a ton of it. Of course, the hesitation from Aya Wilson still hangs in the air. Because let's be honest, Aya is the face of the league right now. She's dominant, decorated, and has led her team to the top. And yet, her reluctance to fully embrace Clark's rise says a lot. Maybe she's protecting her turf. Maybe she's waiting to see if Clark can keep it up. Maybe it's just competitive instinct. Whatever the reason, it's a reminder that Caitlin Clark still has more to prove. And that's okay, because it keeps her hungry. It means the work isn't done. It means the MVP-level respect she has received is just the beginning, not the finish line. And honestly, that's what makes her journey so compelling. Even after a historic rookie season, Clark isn't satisfied. Her second year may have been slow by injuries, but her presence? Still impossible to ignore. Her game continued evolving. Her leadership never wavered. And despite every obstacle, she stayed focused on a mission: bring a title to Indiana, build a winning culture, be more than a headline, be a foundation. That's what the MVPs are seeing now. They're not just looking at the points or the assists. They're seeing the trajectory, the drive, the legacy in progress. And that's why so many of them have pushed for her inclusion on Team USA. Not as a token, not as a viral boost, but because she belongs, because she's ready. Because even in her early 20s, she plays with maturity that screams Olympic ready. But even without a gold medal, Clark's already done something few athletes ever accomplish. She's made people care. New fans are watching WNBA games for the first time. Young athletes are mimicking her step back. And seasoned MVPs are tipping their caps. Not because they have to, but because they've seen enough. And that brings us back to where it all started. This isn't just about Clark chasing greatness. It's about how she's doing it. With poise, with respect, with work ethic that silences noise and shifts the entire landscape of the sport. She's not just a player with promise. She's a player with presence. A presence that's been felt by MVPs, legends, fans, coaches, broadcasters, little kids wearing number 22 jerseys in cities that never used to watch WNBA games. Caitlin Clark has become a movement, not because she asked to be, but because her game demanded it. And now, with some of the greatest players in league history standing behind her, that movement has momentum, real momentum, the kind that doesn't just win awards. It changes things. Let's get something straight. Caitlin Clark wasn't handed this moment. She took it, and now, with the backing of MVPs, icons, and a growing sea of fans, she's standing exactly where so many said she couldn't, or wouldn't, or shouldn't. There were people who thought the WNBA would chew her up, that the speed, the physicality, the veteran dominance would expose her as overhyped, a marketing product, a viral moment that would fade when the lights got brighter and the defenders got meaner. That didn't happen. What happened instead? Clark made history. Then she made a few more highlight reels. Then she made believers out of some of the most decorated players the league has ever seen. And while her doubters were busy waiting for her to fall off, she just kept stacking accomplishments like it was nothing. Rookie of the Year. First team All-WNBA. The first rookie in league history to ever do that. 62 records set or broken. That's not an athlete stumbling into success. That's a player owning it. Even after the physical toll of her second season started showing, when injuries slowed her down, when her shot percentage dipped, when the league figured out how to defend her a little better, she still mattered. She still impacted every single game. And the MVP saw it. Let's not overlook that. This is a league where respect doesn't come cheap. It's built over time, through adversity, through consistency, and through proving that you're not just a spark, you're the fire. So when players like Tamika Catchings, Candace Parker, Lisa Leslie, and Breanna Stewart speak up, that means something. They've been that rookie getting ignored. They built teams from the ground up, and they watched Clark do it faster and with more eyes on her than maybe anyone before. And then there's a full circle moment that hit everyone in the fields. Maya Moore stepping in and giving Clark her flowers. That wasn't a media stunt. That wasn't a post-game soundbite. That was one of the greatest to ever do it. Showing up for the next great one. Maya Moore, who had been silent on most things basketball since stepping away, decided this was worth speaking on. She didn't pass a baton. She passed a legacy. It's rare to see that kind of interaction between eras while a career is still in its infancy. But that's what Clark has done, collapse timelines. She's drawing comparisons to veterans in only her second year. She's in MVP conversations while still adjusting to the physical grind of the league. And she's being endorsed by legends before she's even made a deep playoff run. And let's be honest, the game looks different when she's in it. Attendance spikes. Broadcast ratings jump. Social engagement goes wild. She doesn't just elevate the play on the court. She elevates the league's visibility. And the league knows it. The veterans know it. The MVPs? They definitely know it. This is why so many are now openly pushing for her inclusion on Team USA. Because What she brings isn't just production, it's electricity. It's that rare combination of charisma and talent that makes people care. That makes little kids beg for jerseys. That makes first-time fans become lifelong ones. And for those who think this is just a flash in the pan, consider this. Clark isn't even close to her ceiling. She's still growing, still adjusting, still learning. And she's doing it under more scrutiny than most players see in a lifetime. So when MVPs like Cynthia Cooper say she has an extraordinary passing ability, they're not just being nice. They're telling the truth. When Diana Taurasi, who had every reason to remain a skeptic, says Clark's court vision is next level, she's acknowledging reality. And when legends like Lisa Leslie and Tamika Catchings say she's moving the entire league forward, that's legacy-defining praise. Even the quieter support, like Jonquil Jones stepping in to shut down hate and highlight Clark's leadership, speaks volumes. Because when your peers defend you unprompted, it means they've seen the work. They know the difference between someone who's here for the cameras and someone who's here for the game. And yes, there's still tension with Aya Wilson, the reigning MVP, the dominant force, the centerpiece of the super team. She's held off on the open praise. She hasn't thrown shade, but she hasn't handed out compliments either. And in a way, that's fine. That's real. It shows that Caitlin Clark still has more mountains to climb. It shows that not everyone is ready to hand her the crown. But it also shows that the conversation has shifted. Because just 2 seasons ago, Clark wasn't in that conversation at all. Now, she is a conversation. And you know what's wild? She's never begged for that attention. She's never demanded recognition. She's just played. Let the game speak. Let the film do the talking. And the MVPs listened. What's next is obvious. Clark wants a championship. Not just accolades. Not just awards. But real, lasting success. She's committed to building something in Indiana. To transforming a struggling team into a perennial threat. That kind of focus? That's how dynasties start. But even if the title takes time, she's already done what few ever do. Inspired change. Young girls across the country want to shoot like her, pass like her, lead like her. She's created an entirely new generation of fans. She's given casual viewers a reason to tune in. And she's made the league impossible to ignore. That's not marketing. That's not hype. That's greatness. Earned greatness. So, if you're still wondering whether the MVPs are really breaking their silence to recognize her, the answer is clear. They are, and they're doing it because they have to. Because Clark didn't just show up, she showed out. And she did it in a way that made even the most hardened veteran say, okay, yeah, she's one of us now. The league is shifting. The faces of the game are evolving. And Caitlin Clark? She's not waiting for a seat at the table. She's building a new one. If you've made it this far, you already know you're watching something special. Like the video if you're all in on Clark's rise. Share it with someone still stuck in the debate. Subscribe for more real talk like this. And drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you think it'll take for even the quiet MVPs to finally speak up? Because love her or doubt her, the truth is obvious. Caitlin Clark isn't chasing greatness anymore. She's living it. Let's talk about it.